Hey everyone, it's Kai from Cool Collectibles back again for another review. This time it's the Yolopark AMK Pro Series Starscream. This came out maybe a month or so ago. I pre-ordered directly from the Yolopark website this time, which is great because they didn't used to have international shipping to Australia, but now they do. And in terms of value and so on, I would highly recommend pre-ordering directly from the Yolopark website now that they ship pretty much everywhere around the world. And they've done a fantastic job with this particular Starscream. I'll go through the figure obviously shortly, but this is all you get with the figure, and for the price it's $50 US plus about $18 shipping to Australia. And I can pretty much safely say, in my experience, there is nothing else out there in any line of figures that I think beats this for value for money. I mean, $50 US. There are die cast parts. They even had the pre-order bonus there that I'll show you guys in a little bit. All of these accessories and the level of build quality in the kit itself for $50 US. I don't actually know how they're doing it unless everyone else is overcharging. Putting aside the Masterpiece figures, of course, I think the Masterpiece Starscream probably retailed for about 3 times as much, if not more than that, around 200 US perhaps. And then when you look at 1/12 scale figures from SH Figure Art, Storm Collectibles, I mean, they're 6-inch figures up to about here or so with similar accessories, and they're ranging from about 90 US to 110, 120 US. So for 50 US, in this level of paint quality, build quality, die cast parts and accessories, there is nothing else out there that beats this, in my opinion. I'll get the figure out the way and go through the box and all the accessories first. Hold on. Box wise, it's pretty much the same as what they sent out for Megatron and Optimus. So it comes with this box, but the slip cover comes off. So nice art on the side, on the front there. Photos of the figure, and you can see where all the die cast parts are. So I'll point those out when I go through the figure. So only maybe about, I don't know, 20% of the figure maybe, but I'll go through that and how I think the build quality overall is still pretty fantastic. And the inside box, so you can open that up and there's the clamshell inside, but you get that nice sort of artwork there. Then accessories wise, as I was saying before, if you pre-order directly from their website, they included this acrylic stand as a bonus. So it comes in I don't actually have the acrylic piece that all of these sort of fell out of. So you take these out of the larger acrylic piece, and these are all very nicely done and molded. So you get that shine there with the Yolopark logo and the Decepticons and the label there. So that is a really nice high quality little display piece that you can have either next to the figure or displayed elsewhere. So I think as a bonus for a pre-order, that's pretty awesome. Considering this is free, and I bought a Transformers logo acrylic stand piece from Big Bad Toy Store maybe a couple of years ago, one for the Decepticons and one for the Autobots that came out of Japan, and those themselves, not much different in size to this, was about $20 US. So the fact that they were able to include this for free at this quality, I think is pretty awesome. In terms of the other accessories, you get these blast effects that you can put the null ray blast effect on there, and then once I get the figure out here, you pretty much just plug it into the end of the null ray for your shooting effect there, like so. So that's pretty easy to do. And then you have a couple of these other accessories where you can put, there's like a little cross on there, just need to line that up, and then it sticks in his chest, and you can have his I don't know if they're cluster bombs or whatever they are shooting out of his chest there. It does look a little bit weird to me, so I'm definitely not going to use that, but for those that want to have the photo opportunity, you can. And then of course I've got his little smirking face on there at the moment. but you do have a separate faceplate that is the, I don't know if I can focus on that. There's the smiling face, and then there's the standard stoic, sort of fairly bored face. So I've went with his slightly smirking face there, which I think is pretty indicative of his character, so I do like that. But that's pretty much it. Oh no, I forgot about the stand. You get the usual stand in this series with the base there. I still hate how the Decepticon logo is pegged on at the back here. I would have preferred that somewhere on the front of the stand maybe, instead of hiding behind or between their feet. And then you get the crotch grabber or the waist grabber there. But the figures are very sturdy and they pose and balance very well, so I don't even bother using these in my display. But for those that like to have, I don't know, them sort of sticking up in the air and so on, or jumping in the air, I think I guess it's a good enough option. But that is it for all the accessories, so I'll get that out the way and give you guys a closer look at this awesome figure. Right, so here is the figure up close, and overall the paint application is just fantastic. It does have the sort of matte, slightly shiny finish on the paint application, but that really brings out the cartoon aesthetic. And the way they've done a lot of the panel lining and battle damage rusting, it's just really nicely done. You see all the sort of dirt and grime, the weather damage here, battle damage and so on is all very specific and targeted. So I've looked at some of the other blogger photos and so on. They've done it consistently throughout, so it's not like they've randomly done it per figure. I don't know how they do it in the factory. I'm sure there's not a factory line of people doing it, but they are very exact in that battle damage, and it does bring out a lot of character to the figure as opposed to having it perfectly clean. I guess there might be some that do like that perfectly clean look from the cartoon, but I think the way the MP figures are, where they are quite clean and fairly bland, I think having this extra battle damage to highlight the figure just really brings out some of that nuance and character. In terms of the aesthetic, this one compared to Megatron and Optimus is probably the most G1 accurate design so far. Optimus and Megatron did have, I guess, their slight variations, but this one does seem very, very true to the G1 character. In terms of die cast, these wing side parts here are definitely die cast, and they are probably the heaviest part of the figure. You pick it up and there is quite a significant weight to it, even more than probably Optimus and Megatron, I think. So these definitely are die cast. There's die cast, I think, in these parts that flip up here. I was surprised that this whole piece at the top here wasn't, but I guess what they've included here and the chest here is good enough. I think there's a bit of die cast on the front of the thighs here. You can definitely feel the coldness when you hold the figure. And then I think these pieces at the front here on the shins, and these pieces that you clip in for the feet here are also die cast. So overall, quite a bit of die cast there to add that extra bit of weight and balance. And I think they've done a fantastic job there. Even at the back here, you can see there's no kibble like the Masterpiece version, which is, I guess, a benefit of having this as a non-transformable figure. There will be the purists out there that say, this isn't really a transformer and they're not going to get it because it's just an action figure. But as a Transformers fan, and having these as articulated figures without having to worry about breakages or paint damage or kibble or anything like that, you cannot get any better than this. In terms of articulation, the head has all the usual range of motion that you would want. The only limiting point I would say is the waist swivel here, and I for one am glad that they went with what the MP version did, where there is no break at the waist here to allow for that waist rotation, and that is cartoon accurate. So I prefer that actually. It does, I guess, hinder the articulation, but you can get the waist sort of pivot there. You can get a pretty decent ab crunch and getting him to, you know, arch to the back there. But I guess I would have preferred that as opposed to having a break at the waist here in this cockpit to allow for that rotation. The only other point of articulation that you might want to be careful of is because of these wing tips here, you might just want to be careful as you're moving the legs or the arms so they don't smash into each other. But if you've got the Optimus and Megatron figures, you'll know that, you know, you get all the arm movement, the rotation there. It does have the slight butterfly joint there that comes out of the shoulder, and then you get the swivel at the top of the bicep and the double jointed elbows there, which give a fantastic range of motion that you see there. And then they've got the new joint at the hip here that they introduced with Optimus. Megatron doesn't have it, where you can increase the range of motion by bringing the hip down, so you can get his leg in all sorts of directions, and you can, you know, even use that to tailor his height if you want to be a little bit more anal about the scale and the height against the original G1 height scale. And that's pretty much it. And you get the knees there, which are nicely done too. So some awesome range of motion that you can get him into pretty much any pose that you want, either on the stand or otherwise. But for now, I'll get Megatron and Optimus out for a final side-by-side. Alright, so here he is with Optimus and Megatron from the Yolopark series here. As I was saying before, Megatron's height can't be adjusted because of the way they designed his hip joints there, so that's his standard height. Optimus, if you have his joints pushed all the way up, he is a little bit shorter than Megatron, and so I guess I'm a little bit anal enough to want them to be as equal in height as possible. So I've adjusted his hips a little bit just so you can see the tips of his thighs there, to make his height as equal as Megatron's. And then with Starscream, I think they've got the scale pretty much spot on. Typically the scale chart has the tops of his side skirt things here pretty much on par with either the top of Megatron's head or close to it. And as I was saying before, you can tweak the height of his hips here to get it just the way you want it. But for me, I think that's pretty much as good as I'm going to leave it on the shelf. With the MP figures, for example, I would say that the Starscream is probably a little bit too short compared to the height of Megatron and Optimus. So if you're a stickler for scale, I think Yolopark has pretty much got it spot on. And in terms of the overall aesthetic, as I was saying before, you can probably see here that Megatron, in I guess its proportions and, you know, the way the legs sort of flare out, and some of the, I guess, artistic license they took on the interpretation. It's not as G1 accurate as this Starscream here, and the same for Optimus. You know, I would have preferred maybe if this was more of a whitish color like the MP instead of this silver, to give it that more G1 accurate look. But overall, I think that's just nitpicking. If you're into Transformers, G1 in particular, these are pretty much the best figures you can get that are non-transforming, and I guess for at least a quarter of the price, if that, for compared to the Masterpiece figures. I think you can't go wrong if you're a G1 fan. So I would say definitely head over to the Yolopark website or in, you know, your local retailer or wherever it's convenient for you to buy. I think these are absolutely bang for buck. I don't know what they're going to release next. If they've got Grimlock or Soundwave or even Bumblebee, I'm not sure what they've teased recently at some conventions, but I do hope they announce more G1 figures soon. But until then, hopefully you can stay tuned to the channel. I've got a few more reviews coming from Storm, hopefully before the end of the year, and also some larger scale statue stuff that I might be getting from Tweeterhead. So hopefully you can stick around for all of that. But until then, thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.